everybody, this is Patty with Get Balanced 2020, and we're here on Wednesday, Nutrition Wednesday. And today, if you've never watched Get Balanced 2020, this is your first video. Thank you for coming for one. There's a whole bunch of videos if you'd like to watch those, and where they're on mindfulness and your thinking process, getting rid of the old negative way, putting in some new positive, healthy ways of life, and then as far as your thinking. And then Wednesdays we talk about nutrition, for a good diet, a healthy diet to go along with that. And then on Friday we talk about fitness and exercise, just getting some movement in our lifestyles. And then Saturday is Spiritual Saturday, which we talk about our spirit. Actually, it's not about religion, it's about spirit and how to get ourselves balanced with the mind to make it all work. And it's really getting hard doing the mind and spirit separately because it actually melds together. But the way that I do it is I do mind and spirit first. If you haven't seen my live video, go to that and see that, as that'll explain. It's an hour long, but it'll explain a lot of what I'm doing. But mind and spirit have to come first before you can actually take care of the physical, because as women, and if we're talking about weight loss, we end up going back to yo, because we aren't taking care of that little core inside of us that we really need to take care of first, so that we can change our mind and our thinking process. So then that way the weight will stay off, or we can change our life into a healthy, positive lifestyle. Anyway, so I had started this video already, so this is already a second time I've had some glitches with my system. So, and I apologize. I'm trying to step back. I'm trying a new system and I'm not quite liking it, but we'll get through this one. So today what I really want to talk about is plateauing in nutrition, but also talking more about protein. And protein's really, really important to everybody. We all have to have protein, but we also get our protein in different sources. Now, if you're a vegetarian or vegan, you'll get them from plant-based, whereas other people will get it through animal or other sources of that sort. So, so the vegans and the veterinarians, the vegetarians, please understand that I do understand your plight on that as well. So, and then we'll talk about plateauing, what it means to plateau in nutrition while you're working on your fitness and nutrition, that kind of thing. So let's get started, and I'll go through. You can actually catch up on any of the videos if you haven't seen them on my website at getbalance2020.com or YouTube, or come on our Facebook, and you'll be able to, you won't get the videos so much, but you'll get some daily inspiration. Join us if you have questions, or if I get on there for a live chat, pretty frequently. And so I'd love to have you there as a friend. We have friends all over the world, and I thank you all who have joined so quickly. I was so shocked to get so many people already, and we haven't even been a month. So I appreciate all of you around the world that are joining, and I thank you so very, very, very much. So, okay, let's talk about proteins. Proteins are really, really important for many reasons, but the main reason why our body uses protein, or one of the main reasons, is that it's a restoration. It helps us to restore not only our muscles, but if we're injured, if we're sick, if we're having problems like physically, but also too for women, it's important because we have a period, we have a menstrual cycle, and we do lose some blood during that time. So what we need to do is sort of keep restoring, our uterus lining and all that kind of stuff too. So what we do with protein is really important, is how we ingest it. We can ingest it either from the actual source. We can mix it and combine it. Say, for example, if you're vegetarian, you might mix beans and rice, and that will equal a complete protein kind of thing. Or you just, barbecue like I do. No, I'm just joking. Anyway, so when it comes to like how much protein do we need, that's dependent on the person. And a registered dietitian can help you with that if you would like to even dig in deep more how much you should be eating of all your foods, your carbohydrates, your complex carbohydrate, your simple complex, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to do that, there are some nutrition programs on my website if you want. But anyway, so there's a couple of different things that we want to take into account. Are we exercising? Are we not exercising? How old are we? Do we have any injuries? Am I sick? Those kind of things. For example, athletes will need much more protein. Not only they're so lean, they have no muscle, they don't have no fat to burn usually, so they burn into the muscle. So they need to that protein in order to restore and rebuild, and it also helps with the blood flow as well. Now, if you're elder, it's really hard to get the nutrition because usually as we get into our elder years, we sort of lose an appetite a little bit. We don't need as much, maybe our stomach has shrunk a little bit more. And so it's really hard to get that protein. So we give elders a supplement of maybe Ensure or Boost, which is a protein drink, and it has nutrients and vitamins and things in that for them because maybe they aren't getting it very much. Now, if you're have a broken bone, if you're hurt, if you're sick, if all that kind of stuff, then protein's really important to rebuild those, to help restore those. That's why you'll hear doctors or they'll say, make sure you eat enough protein and things like that. And if you can't eat enough protein or you don't like protein, then there are other supplements that you can do to help you get enough protein in your diet. You'll see a lot of the I get over with all these different diets and all these juicing's good. Don't get me wrong, juicing's good, smoothies, protein shakes, and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, just like the pet industry, the nutrition industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they will do and anything in marketing to get you to give that little green back. So you got to be really mindful, and I am so happy to share any information that you want, need, or whatever would like, so that you don't go spend your hard-earned money on a bad word, but junk. Okay, don't do that. I see people do it all the time. I have to bite my tongue, and I feel really bad that they're spending their money on junk, and it just doesn't do anything. I mean, and when I was bodybuilding and stuff, I did some of that stuff, and boy, let me tell you, I'm not going to say some names of these companies, but I'm like, shame on you. You know that it's not going to do that stuff. I worked for a gym one time, not jokingly, a real quick story, not jokingly. I worked for an awesome gym and they sold. I was helping manage their gym, and they sold to another company. I won't say their name, but let me tell you, they're not around much anymore if they're around at all. But the thing is that when we came in as managers, and I was head of the personal training department and managing that department as well, and they wanted us to turn around and sell supplements. They cut our wages, and then they said, now, if you want to make more money, sell their products. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I have a degree. We've got a lot of elders here. I am not pushing junk into their bodies that they don't need it, let alone they're on a fixed income, and you want me to do that? I quit. And I did. And a lot of us did. And it was really, really sad because it was such a good place to work for before that. No, man, don't get me started. Those were my good bodybuilding days. No. Anyway, let's get back to the protein. So we're not wanting to put anything in our body that we really don't need. As we teach in nutrition, eat clean, eat as clean as you can, right from the source. Like we talk about the grocery store and that kind of stuff in the other videos. Eat straight from the source. So if you're going to be a vegetarian, vegan, or in that aspect, you really need to educate yourself. I mean, if you want to go that way, there is nothing wrong with that. I have no qualms about it. Just educate yourself because it's really important to get all the nutrients and all the aspects of all your complex carbohydrates, and your proteins in there. So and as women, we just, like I said, need a little bit more. So when we're talking about proteins and protein powders, this is an empty one, you're going to look at maybe a supplement because Here's the thing. What I teach is I try to teach that you want to keep your blood sugars at an even level. And so you've got to eat a lot more than just 1 or 2 meals a day, because otherwise your body's doing this. You need to keep it at an even keel. So you might have to supplement with a small protein shake or a smoothie with a little bit of, maybe some chia seeds, some flax seeds, some fiber in there to keep you moving. You know what I mean? So on the protein, though, if we look at this protein, and it's a good protein, it's not a bad protein. This is pure protein. And you're going to look at it, and it's going to say natural whey protein, okay? So, and then I don't have the other one, but this one here, on the back, it'll give you all the breakdown of, it actually gives you down here the breakdown, and you really have to know your stuff a little bit to know what these proteins and how much you need and all that kind of stuff. But it also breaks down all your sugars and your carbohydrates and all that kind of stuff. And so on that, that protein is considered a whey protein. So there's whey protein, and then there's whey protein isolate. Now they are whey proteins, but the isolate is actually processed differently. It's actually filtered more. And so you have less fat, less complex carbohydrates in them, and less sugars. So you'll have more protein per scoop, and it's more of a cleaner protein per se. So if people ask me, well, I want a protein powder, but what do I get? Yeah, it is a little expensive. And I really will say that. So, for me, I'm a single mom, so I have to sit there and like, wow, I got to pay, between $30 to $50 for my protein a month. And I'm like, okay, where am I going to cut back? Sometimes I have to cut back on something because this is important to me. My body is important to me. So what am I going to put into my body? So the other thing is that some people will mix that protein. And, sometimes too, if I'm working out, if I'm really pumping weights hard and I'm doing cardio really hard, I will maybe do a double scoop of the protein, just depending. If I'm feeling a little bit run down, I don't have a period anymore, but if I did, when I did, I sat there and I would maybe bump up my protein a little bit more during my period. So, and that's another thing. If you're on your period, magnesium is really, really key for that, for your cramps and all that kind of stuff. Another story for another time. But proteins, what you can do is you can mix that into other things as well. And do it that way, a smoothie, or some people don't want to mix it in cow milk, so they'll mix it in with almond milk or soy milk. Like my daughter, she has a tendency to like soy milk or almond milk or coconut milk, and mix it in with that. I just use a little shaker. You don't need a big blender. You don't need all that kind of stuff. And the whey protein isolate actually mixes really, really nice and smooth and really quick and easy. You even use a little whisper or whatever like that. Now, that's one type of protein. So another type of protein is egg. You can have egg protein. Now, the thing with eggs, and remember back in I can't remember if it was this video, but I was talking about bodybuilding, and back in that day when it was low fat, no fat kind of thing, egg yolks were bad, 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 bad. Everybody was eating all the egg whites and no yolks. And nowadays it's like, okay, let's eat the yolks and the white, kind of thing. Nutrition is so fickle, and it's almost a guinea pig kind of thing. It's like whatever fat is in will work. And that's why they changed even the pyramid for the schools and things like that. The food pyramid, you don't see that anymore. So it's just a very different animal in itself. So you have to find what works for you. You have to find what works for you. So with the egg protein, you got to sort of look at it a lot of the times. For me, you've got to have a complete protein. So when I'm talking about a complete protein in any of this, if you take the egg whites away from the yolk, you don't have a complete protein. It's sort of like, I use this as an example. This is a little, let me see, where is the camera up here? This is a little, it looks like a rock. But actually it's not, it's very beautiful. But pretend this is your egg. So if you take and put the egg together, if you put the yolk and the white together, that is a complete protein because of the elements in the yolk and the elements in the white are somewhat different. And so when you put them together, they make a complete protein. Okay, so once you take, this is a complete egg, once you take it apart, you have two beautiful halves, but they're not complete. So you have to be careful when you do egg protein. It's actually a very good, it's probably the second source of protein that they use in a lot of these protein drinks and things like that. Protein bars. Be careful of the protein bars, people. Please, 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 please. If you're gonna, I'd rather have you snack on a piece of meat or cheese, because cheese is considered a protein as well. Or if you're vegetarian, finding some nuts, finding other different things other than the protein bars. Don't get me wrong. I love me my Met-Rx protein bars. I love my Met-Rx protein bars. But the problem with protein bars is there is a ton of sugar in them, and I tell my clients to stay away from the sugar because of many reasons. So if you're going to eat the protein bars, please, please, please look at the sugars and get your lowest sugar. And the complex carbohydrates, sugar. So keep those sugars low if you're going to go with a protein bar. Because I know somebody's going to ask me, well, what about the protein bars? I like the cookie and dough or whatever. No, just Met-Rx bars actually are the nastiest tasting, but they're the best. They're the lowest in sugars. But let's not go there. I'm not a plugging for Met-Rx either, guys. And Met-Rx, no, I'm not plugging your stuff. But okay, so there's other proteins. There's the egg protein. There's also, they have hemp protein, they have rice protein, and then they have the mixed plant protein. So there's all different kinds. I'm trying to look at my notes here too. So those are some of the other proteins that you get. Now, if you want to eat protein from cow, beef, pig, chicken, whatever, everybody says, well, what's the best? What's the best? Really, if I'm going to eat beef, because it has so much saturated fat in it, I eat it maybe once a week. Now, fish is an awesome protein. Just have to watch where you get it and what kind you get because of all the other stuff that may be coming with it, because our waters are getting so polluted and that kind of thing. So fish is one of the best because of the omega-3s. It's also great for your heart. Also great if you're wanting to lose weight. It is a little bit more expensive. Cod, pollock, those light fishes, really more inexpensive. I don't know where you guys are at, but even I'm sure there's markets that you can get that are lower expensive. Now, if you want, everybody will say, well, what about pork? It's the leaner meat. Well, some religions don't eat pork, and a lot of people don't eat pork because they're afraid of the parasites and all that kind of stuff and all the bad things they've heard about. I eat pork. I don't eat it as much as I used to, maybe once every couple of weeks, but it's an all right. I eat a lot of chicken and a lot of fish. And now here's the thing with your proteins on your chicken and your birds, be really careful because I'm going to educate you from the grocery store aspect. So when you go into these grocery stores and you're in the protein section, so what's going to happen is you're going to walk in there and the meat is really red and beautiful and the chicken is all really nicely looking and plump and everything is just, great. Okay, so you walk up, and if you look at the meat, my uncle used to own a grocery store, and he said, honey, don't ever look at the meat and think that's the real color, because it's not. So what they do, and I have a friend who's a veterinarian for the slaughterhouse, so the thing is that with protein and the meat that you see in the grocery store, it has all been processed, so there has been dyes been put into the red meat to make it look that beautiful red. It's really not. If you've ever opened a package of beef and you sit there and turn it up and you see it sort of dark on the bottom, it is get a little bit older or aged or whatever. Yeah, an aged meat, that is literally what it is. It's aged. But the thing is that there are some dyes in the red meat to make it look all pretty. So those are kind of things. And if you're going to go to organic, that's a whole different avenue. And sometimes organic is really not organic. When I was studying my nutrition degree, you'd be surprised at some of these farms that actually feed meat to the cows. So, I mean, it's just a different kind of atmosphere. But that's for another subject. I'm going to try to put slaughterhouses and organic ranchers down. There are some bad habits that some people do. Not all of them do it. I've had ranchers that are organic and have had great grass-fed cattle and stuff like that. So anyway, so when you're in the grocery section, understand that what you're seeing is really not the real deal. So like with your chickens and turkeys, any bird product, when you go, in fact, we have Foster Farm and then other farm, brands here in where I live in Oregon. And so if you look at one, it'll say no antibiotics, which, okay, great, no antibiotics, but does it say it's not injected with other stuff? Is it not injected with maybe chicken broth and water to make? Here's what happens. They inject these things so that they can be heavier so that you can buy less, but it weighs more, so you're buying more water. How many times do you cook chicken and it's just full, or how of juice and water? And same with the beef. You can get 93% beef now, or 97%. I mean, yeah. It's like 7% fat, less, and all that kind of stuff. Well, they're cutting the fat out, but the thing is that with chicken, you can't see that very much. And if you put the skin on, skin has got the most toxic chemicals in it on your chicken. It tastes so good, I know, when it's deep fried and all that good stuff, but it's actually got all the toxic, you got to think about it, all the toxic stuff in the skin. And not only on top of that, because there's bacteria and everything that are on top of the skin, also too on the thighs. When the chicken, you have to think about this, the thighs are in the lower half, and where does everything go? It gravitates there. So a lot of toxicity hangs in the dark meat. So that's why white meat, when we talk about bodybuilding or lifting weights or eat the white meat, it's because there's more toxic things that the chicken carries in the bottom half. Now, my daughter's half Asian. They eat chicken feet. I could never eat the chicken feet. Oh my gosh! When I was pregnant, I watched her dad eat chicken feet with the family, and oh my gosh! Sorry. If you love chicken feet, good for you. But when you're doing the chicken, make sure that you really pay attention to, if it says no antibiotic, no growth hormones, no this, no that, and really learn what GMO is, because a lot of people have that misconception completely wrong on GMO. They think it'll say GMO on almost everything. Well, majority of that stuff doesn't have GMO anyway. So why are you putting it on there? Because it's a marketing thing. So I get passionate about food because I know a lot about food. But anyway, so proteins, be really careful, or not careful, be mindful of what you're buying. Turkeys are injected with water. It's a purchasing marketing tool that they use. And when you cook the turkey, all that juice, it's a lot of water. It's just water. So be mindful of that. Let me see if there's any other tips about that. So on your protein, I'm not going to get into a whole diet plan, but those are some things that you can learn about protein. I didn't get much time to talk about plateauing, but let's do about 5 minutes of plateauing. So on plateauing, when we're talking about nutrition and our lifestyle of what we eat, or if you want to call it a diet, but I don't call them a diet. So what we do is we begin to start losing weight, or we start building muscle, and then we get to a plateau. So say if I were to put you on a $1,500 calorie diet or nutrition plan, then I would say, okay, this is what our plan is for this time. Let's go 1,500 calories for 2 months. This is a hypothetical, an example. Okay, and most men are into the 3,000s. This was say for a woman. So then we get to that second month or third month, and we're like, okay, nothing's happening anymore. Well, we have to reevaluate. We hit a plateau. That's the same with fitness. When you hit a plateau, it's time to reevaluate, time to change something up, time to adjust, because life is all about changing and adjusting. So basically, that's what we have to do in order to work your nutrition plan. So if something is happening in your life, whatever you're doing, we talk about plateauing in mind, and exercise and nutrition, and even spirit can actually be a plateau, have plateaus. But the thing is, if this is happening to you right now, don't hesitate to just stop for a minute. Say, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. No, you don't. This is a time for something that says, whoa, Nelly, step back, get off the horse for a minute, give the horse a rest, pet him, let him relax, let him refuel, and then you can get back up and watch him just go off into the wilderness, okay? So this is not a time to panic. This is not a time to say, I give up. This is not a time. I'm going to get in your face right now. This is not a time to say, I give up. No, 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 no. So anyway, so this is a time for you just to stay perseverant and try something different, try something new. Maybe drop 100 calories, add 100 calories, try more protein, less protein. I will say, if you want to change something and you're eating a lot of complex carbohydrates, pastas, potatoes, and all that kind of stuff, rices, drop it out and you'll see something happen real fast, because that's all sugar. Anyway, I'm not going there today. So plateauing is all about making a switch, tricking your body, tricking your mind. Your mind is so flipping smart that it can get used to something, and then all of a sudden, if you trick it and change it, it's like, boom, it doesn't know what to do. It's like, what the frick? So that's what happens with plateauing. You need to get to the what the frick kind of thing. So that's what we need to do about plateauing. That's really, really quick about plateauing. But the thing is that don't give up when things plateau. Evaluate, step back, write things down. This is why I say notebooks are so important for your success in any goal, whether it be work, whether it be family, whether it be a relationship, whether it be anything, your fitness, your nutrition. It is a goal. You want to see what's happening now all the way to the end of the year. And see, I do this myself. I was shocked. I keep a journal. I don't weigh myself as much as I used to, because I'm not a real scale thing. I'm a more of an inch person. Did these shrink at all? So, but if it's once a month that I'm going to step on the scale and say, hey, did I stay the same? Okay, good. I didn't gain anything. Did I lose anything? Oh, okay, that's cool. But am I healthy? Do I have energy? Do I feel good? Those are the more important things. And the way that if we're overweight, the more energy we have, we drop off a little bit of weight, more energy we'll have. That's the important thing. The healthy is the important thing. So when you go through the plateaus and you're just sort of stuck, you're not really stuck. What your body's saying, reevaluate, reassess. Let's move on, find a way to make it work. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me, ask me questions. You can, I don't know if my phone number's on there or not. I was going to say you could text me, but a lot of the times I'm just really busy and my phone's on Do Not Disturb. But email me and ask questions. Go on my Facebook. Facebook is Get Balanced 2020 Patty Hall. Make sure you do both, because I'm not that well known. So basically you have to put them both in, and you will get Patty Hall some star. I wish I was. No. Anyway, so go there, ask questions, look at all the other YouTubes. I'm trying to put little headers on there so you know which ones to watch for. This one will say protein and plateauing. So do that, and then come back on Fitness Friday and we'll talk more about plateauing there, just a real brusher up, because we have a whole one from last week, and then we'll go from there. So I wish you a good plateau. It's not a bad thing. This is actually a good thing because you're growing. If you don't plateau, you're not growing. I want you to get that into your head and make that a positive thing. If I don't plateau at any point, I'm not growing because I need to assess. I need to go from, it's like steps, stepping stones. So you have to plateau. We all do it. We all do it. So until Friday, I hope you all have a good day tomorrow. I think it's Thursday. Yeah, I don't know. I'm doing a couple of videos today, so I'm wondering what day I'm on. So you have a great day, and we will see you on Friday. Thank you for coming, and thank you for joining my Facebook. Make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube that you please, please, please like, share. If you want to subscribe, but at least please like, because that's the only way that we can grow the channel and get more people involved around the world. And I love the diversity. I love it. You have a good day now. Bye-bye.